16 months ago, I set a goal of dunking a basketball. And I know it sounds fucking wild, coming from a regular Asian dude who didn't play sports growing up and isn't athletic whatsoever. So how did this goal of dunking a basketball even come to mind? Let's bring this back to March of 2024. I remember I was walking around my neighborhood, getting my 10K steps per day, per usual. And as I passed by my local park in my neighborhood, I remember seeing a basketball court. And immediately I thought, yo, only if I had a basketball right now. That night, I went on Amazon, bought myself a basketball, which came the very next day. And next thing you know, I was playing basketball like 4, 5, 6, sometimes even 7 days a week. It didn't help that at that time, the Knicks were doing pretty decent with Jalen Brunson and the whole Knicks mixtape. Although I didn't play sports growing up, I grew up a big sports fan. Big time Yankees fan, big time Knicks fan. Shout out to my pops for always having the Yankees or the Knicks on the TV. It's crazy because even though he was an immigrant that doesn't know a lick of English, yo, he knows like every single player and he knows the standings for all of the MLB, all of the NBA, like no other. But back to the story. I remember I was playing basketball 4, 5, 6, 7 days a week. By no means was I good whatsoever. Like, I remember I couldn't even make a fucking layup a foot away from the hoop, let alone get some jump shots in. But as I got more practice in, as I got more repetitions in, as I showed up day in and day out, I slowly but surely got a little bit better every single time I stepped foot in that court. And as the gym bro myself, who always sets massive fitness goals for myself, back then in my teen years, it was hitting certain numbers in powerlifting. Then it was doing my first ever half marathon. And then it was doing my first ever bodybuilding show. And I thought, yeah, being the delusional person I am, what if I set a goal of dunking a basketball? There are not that many Asians that can dunk a basketball. I don't know any personally that can dunk a basketball. What if we trained to make that happen? 16 months later, here we are dunking a basketball, which is fucking wild for me to even say out loud. In this video, I want to share a couple of lessons that I learned throughout this dunk journey that has translated on and off the court, as I truly believe that with everything that we do in our health, our wealth, our relationships, it all comes full circle with everything that we do on a day-to-day basis. Number one, success leaves clues. I feel like throughout my life journey, this has been something that I've always done. It first started with wanting to get six-pack abs. I remember searching up on YouTube how to get six-pack abs. I would study the workout routines of my favorite influencers, my favorite athletes, and I would literally do whatever it took. I would mimic them. I would do exactly what they did for me to achieve those goals. The same goes with business, the same goes with relationships, the same goes with my finances. If someone out there was able to achieve the goal that you want to achieve, why can't you do it? Why not learn from the people that already have what you want? Why not learn from those people that are already doing what you want to do? When I first started this dunk journey, I remember watching countless of videos on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram of people dunking. Specifically, Ja Morant, LeBron James, and even guys like Zach LaVine who got crazy hops. I would literally rewatch the same videos over and over and over and over again. I would zoom in to exactly how they took those specific steps, and I would try to mimic that the next time I stepped on the court. Did I get my dunk the very next day? Nah. But what that did for me was it allowed me to experiment. It allowed me to try different things. It allowed me to open up my perspectives to doing new things, which only allowed me to learn even more. What feels best for me, what works best for my body, and what I can take away from these pros that got some crazy hops. Whatever goals that you have in mind, whether that is in your health, your wealth, your relationships, do research on the people that are already doing what you want to do. See what you can implement from their habits, their routines, and watch how much more progress you make on your journey. Which brings me to number two. What doesn't get measured doesn't get improved. at the very start of my dunk journey, I would do countless of jumps every single time I stepped foot on that court. And I'm not gonna lie, I got really discouraged really early on because I thought I would make so much more progress than I did. Even though I was practicing my jumps multiple times per week, I wasn't really making much progress from the very start. Until my coach hit me with, yeah, why don't you film some videos, send it over, this way we can take a look at it. And at first I felt kind of ashamed because it's like, yo, I don't really want to send you videos of me not even being able to barely touch the rim. But then once I started filming my jump attempts, and as the weeks went on, I was able to see the progress that I made over the weeks. Fast forward a couple of more weeks, I'm grabbing the rim with both my hands. But without filming those videos, I wouldn't know if I was making the type of improvements and the progress that I was making. This goes hand in hand with whatever goal that you have in mind. Let's say you're trying to save $1,000. You can say that you're budgeting your money. You're trying to save your money. But if you have no idea how much money is coming in and how much money is going out of your account, how are you possibly going to guarantee that you save those $1,000? Start tracking as much data as you possibly can. This way, you're able to see the improvements and the progress over time. What doesn't get measured doesn't get improved. Which brings me to number 3. Everything that you do is a skill, and you can get better at anything. Just like I was telling you earlier, when I first started playing basketball, I was so fucking ass. Like I couldn't even make a fucking layup. But the more repetitions that I got in, the more feedback that I got, hey, maybe next time around, I'm going to get a little bit closer to the rim. Next time around, hey, I'm gonna try to aim that basketball in that box. And when the ball went inside the hoop, hey, next time around, I'm gonna repeat that same exact thing that I did. What's beautiful about this thing that we call life is no matter your starting point, no matter how much you think you suck at something, that doesn't mean that has to continue being your reality for the rest of your life. You can get better at literally anything and everything. You weren't born knowing how to walk. You weren't born knowing how to talk. You weren't born knowing how to brush your teeth or do math. But these things you learned over time. You got better at it over time. The more practice that you get, the more repetitions that you get, the more feedback that you get, the more data that you track, it only allows you to look at things with a different perspective. What can I do differently next time around so that I have a higher chance of making it happen? Which brings me to number 4, expand your timeline. Once I touched the rim for the very first time, my delusional ass thought that I was gonna be able to get my dunk in the next couple of weeks. And you already know what happened. Of course it didn't happen. It's so easy to rush into things and try to rush this process to achieving our goals. I'm even guilty of this myself. I wanna lose these next 30 pounds in the next 30 days. I wanna make X amount of money in the next 30 days. I wanna be able to dunk this basketball in the next 30 days. Now, I'm not saying it's not impossible, because it is very possible. But let's be realistic with it for a second. If you're just starting out on your journey, if you don't have any skills, any talents, any practice, any data, any feedback whatsoever, what are the chances of you actually making that happen? Again, I'm not doubting you, but let's actually be realistic for a second. What I learned throughout this journey, whether this is dunking a basketball, whether this is lifting X amount of weights, whether this is losing X amount of weight, whether this is making X amount of money in your business. As much as you want to achieve these goals as fast as possible, the universe isn't going to give it to you when you're not ready for it. There's no need to rush this process, because if you were to go into this with the mindset of, this is going to happen, regardless of time, I'm gonna acquire the skill sets, I'm gonna put in the time, I'm gonna get the feedback that I need. It's inevitable, and it's gonna be unreasonable for you to not achieve those goals. So instead of going into these goals of, let me achieve this goal as fast as possible, which most of the time when we do that, it backfires. Shit happens. For me, I had knee pain, I had shin splints, I jammed my toe, went to China for a few weeks, had to take out my wisdom teeth, which caused me to be super inconsistent with my training. But when you take that timeline out of the picture and you simply show up day in and day out, doing your very best, winning each day at a time. And you compound that over 30, 60, 90, 180, 365 days, you're gonna achieve your goal way faster than you even thought. Next thing you know, you've already passed that finish line, and you're gonna look back and be like, damn, we've come a long fucking way. Stack those wins. Expand that timeline. Focus on winning each day at a time, getting a little bit better each day at a time, and keep stacking that. Because it's not a matter of if you're gonna reach your goal, but a matter of when. And time just has to catch up. And lastly, get accountability. When it comes to getting accountability, there are different ways that you can go about this. For me, I hired a coach that specifically has worked with NBA players and athletes that want to be more athletic. I also did a video series for about 45 days where I literally made a video every single day on my dunk journey. I kind of fell off it a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, but during that timeline, my followers, my friends, and the people that watch my content, they would bring it up every single time they saw me. Yo, how's the dunk journey going? Yo, have you got your dunk yet? And what that did for me was it held me to a different standard. It wasn't just setting goals for myself. Now it's like other people are involved in this, and I don't want to let other people down. Now, I'm not saying you have to hire a coach or make a video series on your journey. Maybe getting accountability means telling a certain friend or family member about your goals and asking them if you can go to them to hold yourself accountable. Maybe that is posting a story on your Instagram every single time you hit the gym. Maybe that is making an accountability board for the next 90 days. These are the tasks that I want to achieve, and every single day you'll complete them. Hey, put a tally mark on the win column. And every single day that you don't achieve them, hey, put a tally mark on the loss column. And one of my favorites, you can even set yourself up with a reward system. When I achieve this goal, I'm going to celebrate by getting myself something. Man, what I love about this life journey and everything that we do, no matter your starting point, no matter the cards that you were dealt, no matter how much you think you suck at something, yo, we all have the ability to get better at anything that we do. And this is why I continue to challenge myself with my fitness goals. This is why I continue to make these videos to share my experiences and share my lessons with my followers. And this is why I continue to show up day in and day out with trying to improve myself by a little bit each and every single day. Because this beautiful thing that we call life has so much to offer. And I truly believe that there's no such thing as you have it all figured out or you know everything. No one knows everything. And that's the best part of this journey. Let me know in the comment section below if any of these lessons hit home for you. Much love. I appreciate you for tuning in. Let's continue exploring what this beautiful thing that we call life has to offer. Let's chat soon.